welcome back to my movie review series. Today's review will be the 2013 Universal and Illumination movie, and that is Despicable Me 2. Well, it was a year after the 100th anniversary of Universal Pictures, and now, Gru, his girls, and his minions are back on the big screen. The movie premiered on July 3, 2013. The movie airs on Cartoon Network, Disney Channel, Freeform, Nickelodeon, TBS, Syfy, FX, and streaming on Netflix, Peacock, Hulu. It's beta on Disney+, Apple TV, and Amazon Prime Video. Sometime after the events of the first film, a mysterious aircraft steals a highly potent mutagen known as PX-41 from a secret laboratory in the Arctic Circle. Silas Ramsbottom, director of the Anti-Villain League, sends Agent Lucy Wilde to recruit former supervillain Gru, who is forcibly brought to their headquarters and asked to help them track down the culprit and recover the mutagen. However, Gru refuses, claiming that he is now legitimate father and owner of a jelly-producing business. Later, Dr. Nefario, Gru's friend and assistant, quits to accept a more villainous job offer. This causes a reluctant Gru to decide to work with the AVL after all. He and Lucy are then stationed at a shopping mall, with a cupcake store as their front. Gru immediately suspects that Mexican restaurant owner Eduardo P.A. copywriter might be El Macho, a supervillain who supposedly died by riding a shark into an active volcano with 250 pounds of dynamite strapped to his chest. They later break into Eduardo's restaurant during the night, but find no evidence. Meanwhile, Gru's three adopted daughters, Margot, Edith and Agnes, who dream of having a mother one day, believe that Gru will fall in love with Lucy. Gru denies it, saying his relationship with Lucy is only professional. Despite holding Eduardo as his prime suspect, Gru agrees to pursue other leads, including the shop of wig merchant Floyd Eagleson, where Lucy discovers traces of the mutagen. After witnessing Eduardo's son, Antonio, woo Margot, Gru renews his focus on him, who in turn invites the family to his Cinco de Mayo party. Lucy helps Gru escape a blind date gone wrong and the duo begin to form a bond. The AVL arrests Floyd after finding a nearly empty jar of the mutagen in his shop. Ramsbottom then closes the investigation and reassigns Lucy to Australia, leaving Gru heartbroken. At Eduardo's Cinco de Mayo party, Gru follows him and discovers that he is indeed El Macho, having faked his death. And with Dr. Nefario now at his side, El Macho has kidnapped most of Gru's minions and mutated them into indestructible and savage beasts through his usage of the stolen mutagen, intent on using them to conquer the world. He offers Gru the chance to team up with him, but the terrified Gru leaves with the girls. Suspicious, El Macho sends one of the mutated minions, Kevin, after them. Lucy, having decided to disobey orders and return home to Gru, arrives at the party right after Gru leaves. Realizing that Gru and Lucy are working for the AVL, El Macho kidnaps her, which is witnessed by Nefario as he then informs Gru of the situation. Now it's up to Gru and his remaining minions to stop El Macho, and save both Lucy and the world. The story manages to be just as well written and engaging as the first movie, as while it does share some of the same issues like easy predictability and some weak jokes, the plot is a solid continuation of the story, as it doesn't just simply rehash the first movie. And it still has plenty of heart and charm, still has some really funny humor, still has some fun action. The tone is still really fun and lighthearted, and it does expand on the world of the Despicable Me universe. The humor manages to be just as funny and on point as before, as while there is an occasional lame and annoying joke, a good chunk of the humor does land and does get some good laughs and chuckles, like the witty banter and dialogue between the characters, the snarky comments and remarks, the gags and slapstick, the dark humor and occasional adult joke, the minions' continuing shenanigans, and some of the visual humor. The movie also manages to have a lot of the same amount of heart and charm as the first movie, as this one does manage to have plenty of heartfelt and charming moments, like the continuing growing bond between Gru and the girls wanting to help Gru find a girlfriend, and the blooming relationship between Gru and Lucy. The action scenes also manage to be just as fun and exciting as those from the first movie, with scenes like the minions chasing after Lucy after she captures Gru, Gru and Lucy's encounter with the chicken in El Macho's place trying to find the mutagen, and the climax where Gru and his minions take on El Macho and the mutated minions. The animation has received a good upgrade from the original as it does look more polished and fluid, with the characters all still having some very nice designs that are accompanied by some good and fluid movements. The backgrounds and settings are very well crafted and do have some nice details and even a bigger scope, and there are some nice special effects. The characters are still very likable and are still pretty solid as they do have some nice chemistry and dynamics, wit and humor, charm and charisma, and some good growth and development, such as the returning characters from the first movie being given some nice progression like Gru, Margot, Agnes, Edith, Dr. Nefario, and the minions. And a lot of the new characters are also pretty solid and likable, such as the spunky Lucy, the straightforward Ramsbottom, some of the more minor characters like Eagleson, Antonio, and Shannon, and there's the Macho El Macho, who is a pretty fun and enjoyable villain. The voice acting is just as solid as before, as the voice actors do give some great performances like Steve Carell as Gru, Kristen Wiig as Lucy, Miranda Cosgrove as Margot, Elsie Fisher as Agnes, Dana Gayer as Edith, Benjamin Bratt as El Macho, Russell Brand as Dr. Nefario, Steve Coogan as Ramsbottom, and more. Pharrell Williams and Her Pereira return to deliver another pretty solid and well-composed score, as it does sound nice, and it does manage to capture the movie's comedic, light-hearted, charming, and action-packed tone. Verdict: 9 out of 10. This a very solid sequel to an already pretty solid movie, as this manages to capture a lot of the same beats as before. Sure, there are still some issues I have with it, but overall, a great continuation of the movie that begun the Illumination era.